the next time someone says not all men, ask them this. If a bee was flying towards their face, would they duck or would they say, not all bee sting. Maybe I should give this one a chance.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll talk about a woman complaining about having to work, as well as the reasons why a woman got divorced. Another woman expresses that if she marries a man, she doesn't want to take his last name or have their children take his last name. Before we begin, we want to thank you for being here. Your support means a lot to us. If you like what you see, we invite you to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. We'd also love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Your participation helps us grow and reach more people. Thank you for being part of our project. Let's get started.
Women are not meant to work 9-to-5 jobs.
Well, this should be interesting.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. We shouldn't have to work 9-to-5 jobs.
What should we, women, be doing with our time?
Women are meant to go to Pilates class, stand by a pool, read a good book, take care of the children, make good food, and be provided for by a man.
It sounds like one thinks that only the men should have to work. I mean, how far back in time do we want to go? Does one still want the ability to be able to vote?
There's no way a woman can be in her feminine energy if she's sitting at a 9-to-5 job or she's unhappy.
Oh, good. That feminine energy thing. Again.
The worst part is there's women out there that are having to fill that masculine role in the office, getting things done.
Working is masculine now, and so apparently is getting things done. Noted.
Because they have to be. They're covering bills. They're paying for half of dinner when a man should be paying for the tab every time.
I guess some women don't really want to be independent women, do they?
Did we as a society decide that women should go to a 9-to-5 job, feel some gratification, instead of staying at home with the kids?
It never ceases to amaze me how many individuals actually seem to have entirely skipped history class of how hard so many women and men had to work just so that women could be seen as equals in society.
If a woman wants to work part-time so she can spend more time with her kids at home, she should be able to do that. And don't get me wrong, if you want to work a 9-to-5 job, you go do that. But I'm just saying, women shouldn't have to.
Well then, in the spirit of equality, I guess that means that men shouldn't have to work either. But let's see how well that'll go for society when everybody is so entitled that they don't think that they have to work.
This confirms that what women like is to be supported. Of course, many of these women don't want a traditional life. They want a sponsor. Listen to her saying, "Go to Pilates. That's my feminine energy. Let a man pay my bills." Of course. And what do you offer this man? That's why the soft guy movement drizzles. It will become increasingly popular among men because they don't see themselves as a wallet or ATM. You fought for equality. You complained about men's protection. You asked for more rights to step out of your husband's shadow. Well, endure the pressure of having to work like every man to make a living. It's that the modern woman doesn't understand that being a man is going through life in hard mode. A man is not unconditionally loved. A man is only worth what he can offer. This is what society hasn't always said like this. So, welcome to the equality you wanted, where everyone has to work to support themselves. Drizzle.
I can remember when I told my ex-husband I wanted a divorce. It was December 2019, and he was completely shocked. Completely caught off guard, like dumbfounded, devastated, everything else. But the month before that, November of 2019, I remember very clearly having yet another talk with him about how unhappy I was. But this particular conversation, he was in his man cave room playing video games, which was like his favorite activity. And I go walking in and I tell him, like, I really want to talk about our marriage. Like, I'm not happy. It feels like we're roommates at this point, and I don't really have a partner, blah, blah, blah. This man was wearing his headphones because he was playing with a friend and they like talked to each other. He didn't even take his headphones off. He just pulled it off his right ear. This is almost 4 years ago now. I can still remember he pulled it off his right ear. And he didn't pause the game or stop playing. He continued to play a video game while his wife was standing in front of him, telling him how unhappy she was in the marriage. And I remember when he said to me something about like marriage being forever and whatever. And I said to him, well, maybe some marriages aren't meant to last. And he got so mad at me for saying that. But he didn't stop playing video games to have the conversation with me. And if that doesn't perfectly sum up why I divorced this man, then I don't know what does. And I feel like this is a very common trend. I hear about this type of stuff a lot, where the wife had expressed her concerns for months or even years, and then when she finally says, all right, I've done everything I could do, I want a divorce, then the husband's like, what do you mean? What's happening? I love you. Please don't leave me. Please don't take my kids from me. It's like, bitch, you should have put in effort. You had the opportunity. We give you so many opportunities to do the right thing. You chose not to. This is now the repercussions of your actions. Am I wrong?
The woman is envious of the man's happiness because out of the 24 hours in a day, the best time to talk about the relationship is when the man starts playing video games. Because you didn't want to talk about the relationship, you just wanted to take away his individual moment where he's having fun so he'd pay attention to you. Many women do this. When a man watches a sports game, immediately the woman comes to talk about problems, because she wants to snatch those little moments of personal enjoyment from you just to fill you with complaints. You could say it when you're at the dinner table, when you're in the room together, or tell him when you have a moment that you need to talk about something important, not when the man is relaxing and trying to unwind, then you want to mess with the relationship and your problems. There's a saying that goes, pick your battles. If you're smart, you'd pick a moment when you're both relaxed together to calmly explain that you want changes in the relationship, or that you're not happy for X or Y reason. They want to keep things to themselves, and only when they want to leave the relationship, that's when they come to unload their complaints, because they never think, this man has family debts to pay, this man is stressed from work, he might be depressed. They never think that us men can have individual problems. What matters is only how you feel. I tell you, women always envy men's happiness.
I just saw my ex on a dating app and oh my God, the lies he put on it. When I first saw it, my heart dropped. I was like, oh shit. And then I was fine because it was just way too hilarious to not laugh at. Half of the pictures I took, and then all of the prompts were a lie. Like, he was like, I'm tall and rich. Or like, you're neither of those. I just thought it was funny, but it's so nice to like get that behind me. Like, you know, like the things that you kind of are nervous for, like you're nervous for running into them in public, you're nervous for seeing them on a dating app or whatever, and it's like that happened and that wasn't even bad, and I feel great. Anyway, it's just so funny. I don't know if it's gonna hit me later that I saw that and I'll be sad, but I don't think so. That's also a big red flag. If people are lying on the dating app, like, run. Like, they are just liars and they will not change. Run.
What bothers you is that he quickly moved on from you, making you feel like you weren't as special in his life as you thought you were. Remember, women always want to be special in a man's life, and they all want to see their exes worse off than when they left them, but seeing him doing better than you gave your heart a twist. Something I like about the Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed, is that these men never go down in flames when they leave a relationship. Don't get me wrong, everyone grieves in their own way, but crying to a woman when she leaves you never yields results. If she leaves you, go no contact immediately, disappear from her life as if the earth swallowed you. Hit the gym, and the next month, at least get on dating apps, even if it's just to chat with someone, and not lose the skill of talking to women. Believe me, she'll be keeping an eye on you, wanting to know what's become of your life. She'll search for you. This same girl talks about her ex, but she doesn't mention that she's also looking for a replacement because finding him on a dating app means you're there too. What a double standard women have. What hurt your ego is that he's already moved on, that his description, the one you noticed, will bring him a better woman than you. Brothers, just like the Chad, that's a low blow.
Men are losing their mind over a recent video that I made explaining how you leaving a good guy doesn't make you a bad person. Your spouse doesn't have to be abusive in order for your feelings of wanting to leave to be valid. There are dozens of reasons why marriages fall apart, and a lot of them have nothing to do with somebody being a bad person. Here are some examples. Financial problems, growing apart, communication issues, addiction, too much arguing, lack of emotional or physical intimacy, one spouse spouse just isn't carrying their weight in the marriage. Maybe you married too young or for the wrong reasons, opposing values or lack of shared interests. Or maybe you just live like platonic roommates. Those are all very common reasons for divorce. And it doesn't make you or your spouse a bad person.
Anxiety, uncertainty, and instability are always your best allies. A relationship ends in different ways. That's why I tell you, being a good man is no longer enough. You have to understand that many of these modern women, whether through social media, music, or their favorite actresses, or the purple hair movement, are constantly telling them to be bad, to go out with their bad boy, that men are there to please them. Whether you like it or not, all these things have an effect on a woman's mind. Whenever she's in a healthy relationship, she's always feeling like something's missing. As I've said, a woman is faithful to her emotions. That's why they never leave the Chad, because he puts them on an emotional roller coaster. One day he sweetens things up, the next day he salts it. He keeps them in this constant back and forth. Women are addicted to attention and drama. I always tell them, a good or bad emotion is still an emotion. Another thing, this is advice for men. Never lose your identity in a relationship. If you had friends, you dressed a certain way. That's how you won over that woman. When you change everything for her, you become what she's chewing on. You know what will happen. She'll get bored of you because you're no longer the guy she fell in love with. Stop thinking they're rational beings. These women are irrational thinkers. Remember, when they say something, they do the opposite.
Please give your baby your surname. You carried a baby for 9 months.
I had this conversation with a partner one time. He was my best friend since 8th grade, and we finally started dating when we were 20, and it was like, oh my gosh, at last we get to be together. When I told him I wanted to keep my last name and hyphenate our children's names, he said, why? And I said, oh, just because I like my last name. Like, I'd hyphenate if you wanted me to, but, you know, that's fine, whatever. And he was so heartbroken that I didn't want to change my name, and I said, why do you want me to change my name? And he's like, so we can have the same last name. And I said, oh, that's easy. Just change yours. Like, I have a really cool last name. And he goes, but it's my father's name. And I said, yeah, me too. It's my father's name too. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to change it. Floored, shocked, so confused that I didn't want to change it. But he wouldn't change his either.
And that's why she's still single. You'll die with your father's surname that nobody wants. Brothers, do you know why she doesn't want that man's surname? Because he doesn't bring anything to the table. If he was a man with a lot to his name, believe me, she'd be crazy to have his surname and that of their children. But since she feels empowered, she's probably better off than the man, so she doesn't want to carry his surname. Imagine going to a gathering or a salon and they announce, for example, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But then, how would it be, Mr. Smith and Mrs. whatever her name is? That's ridiculous. So when it comes to giving the surname to their child, mainly to the male child who carries on the family name, who will bear the woman's father's surname, when that's not his child, then that child isn't yours. Women want to strip away all the rights from the man, except for having to pay child support and inheriting your assets. Because in the event of your premature death, she'll want to prove that the child is yours, bearing your surname, to inherit all your money. DNA, like the surname, is sacred to a man. How do you tell a man that he doesn't want to have his surname? When there are people in history who paid their son-in-law to bear their surname for their children, when men created great works in the world or infrastructures to carry their surname, when it's a source of pride for a man to be called the Smith family. That's why this woman is alone, because I doubt that any man, unless he's a super simp, would accept something like that. The wall doesn't forgive. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about the woman not having your last name? What do you think about this woman's divorce story? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.